Welcome to this pick a card session. Take a moment to decide which one of these piles really resonates to you. This is pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. Again, pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. There could be a message in multiple piles, so just be mindful of that and just trust whatever is calling out to you and go with that order. Okay, let's get started. If you chose this pile, you chose pile number 1. So let's begin to see what the universe has in store for you. This is what the universe is saying. The crone. One more. And the prophet. And let's see what this is here. The sun bear. So what's coming across here is that there's this wise energy and almost this way of direction that the universe is trying to tell you about. It's saying, hey, this is the direction to go into. This is the direction that you need to be in. So if you've been feeling recently like you're kind of out of the order that you would want to be in, or you're feeling like things aren't happening as quickly as you want them to, or you feel like there are just so many setbacks when it comes to what you truly want to be doing, this is just a confirmation here to let you know that, hey, it's going to be okay. Understand that what you're experiencing right now is just temporary. It's just a temporary experience. Don't worry about it too much, because ultimately there is wisdom in the experience that you're experiencing now. There's wisdom in the journey as a whole. There's wisdom in the way that you move through your life right now. You may not be able to see it because it's almost like when you're in the forest, you can't see the trees. So you step out of the forest, you look at it from a bird's eye view, and you can see all of the trees. You can see so much more. So right now you're in the thick of it. You're in the thick of the things that you're doing. You're in the thick of the progression that you have right now. And just understand that you have to take a bit of a step back to see that there is wisdom here. There's wisdom in this experience, no matter how difficult it may feel, no matter how it feels like, should I really be doing this? Do I even want to do this? X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. It's saying, look, if you really want what you claim that you want, you're going to have to do that. And you're going to have to be strong with how you do it. You're going to have to be a protector and a provider for your dreams and for the things that you have been nourishing about yourself. Let's see what else. Any other guidance here? Any other messages? The horn. So this has to do with your calling. So this is narrowing it down specifically to your calling. You're being asked to work on that which is your gift to the world. And you're being told that there's going to be a bit of some delayed gratification here. This gift that you have, it's something that you're naturally good at, but maybe you've gone through a couple of things that made it a little bit difficult for you to recognize the value that you have. Because ultimately what you're doing is you're building. You're building on a reality. You're building on a beautiful foundation. You're building this up. So your gift itself is much bigger than where you're at right now. And sometimes when things are tough and things are difficult, we forget that. So if we forget that, we might just be like, whatever. I'm going to let all this stuff go. Doesn't really matter. Blah, 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 blah. But really, no, that's not really how you should be looking at it. The universe is sending a message to you basically saying like, You got to see it as like a beautiful, clear forest or a clear ground, okay? And that you're going to plant the seeds and you're going to water it and you're going to watch it grow and you're going to allow it to take the time that it needs to take to nourish itself. There's no rushing here. And also, don't judge the field because there's nothing growing there yet. It doesn't mean there's not the potential of growth. It doesn't mean that everything you want will not grow. It doesn't even mean that you're going to grow something in the seeds of your passion and the seeds of the things that make you happy, that they won't grow. So you got to think of this time period for yourself as a time of sowing seeds and doing the work in order to get there. And so there's this balance here. There was a way that you used to go about doing things, and it wasn't the best balance for you. The way that you did things was more rushed, more needing to see the results right now, needing to feel like, oh, you want it to be worth your time right now. And this is challenging that. It's saying find balance in yourself now. Find balance in your feelings about how you feel about this big thing you're working on, and relaxed in that. Because the message that's coming across is that the reason why you felt like you had to kind of pivot so quickly all the time is because deep down inside, you didn't trust that it would work out. And because you didn't trust that it would work out, you would need something that would give you that instant gratification, or something that you could see a slow path or a closer path to get there. And this is more of a slow path. This is more of a path in which it's going to take some time for you to get to where you want to go. And a part of that journey is going within yourself and being able to be patient with yourself as you are going along that journey. It's not easy. Self-doubt can creep upon you at any time. Life happens and you have to pivot to that. And sometimes you realize that you want to do something else. All of these things come up and they may feel initially like, well, what's the point of even trying? But it's all a part of the journey. Understand that the journey is much bigger than this moment. It's much bigger than this actual time right now. It's huge in the energy that it has. And so start to connect with that. Start to just allow the universe to take you wherever you need to go in the journey to get you to where you need to go. You may have something heavy on your heart now. You really want to see it come into fruition. But years later, you realize that it's not really what you needed. You needed something that was much bigger. You thought that this thing would make you feel good. And then you realize later, actually, well, this is the thing that would make me feel good. And I had to go through that delay in order to get there. That's kind of a way to look at it. In the silence here, it's almost like be mindful of what you say to yourself when you're talking to yourself. Be mindful that you're not judging yourself. Be mindful that you have patience with yourself. And just resist the urge to feel like you just want to jump up and be like, hey, why isn't this working? Or is this going to work quick enough? Or da-da-da-da-da. No, just really resist that urge. That's going to be the toughest part. It's not even making what you want happen, which is the issue. It's this, and this is a vice here. And the vice here is you're always kind of seeing a new opportunity and wanting to jump at it. So be a little bit more patient here, okay? New opportunities come and there'll be plenty of time for you to take an action there, but you don't have to jump every time you see a new opportunity. It's almost like back to that field. If whenever we hear about a new plant, we jump up and then we say, hey, I'm going to plant this new plant. I'm going to lift up all the peas and I'm going to try to plant strawberries now. No, nothing will ever grow. It takes patience, and this is also something that you're working on. Give yourself at least until the spring, whenever the spring is for you. Give yourself at least until the spring for you to see what you've been building, for you to see what you've been growing, for there to be less judgment about will it work? Will it work? Will it work? No, you can't go underneath the ground and see the roots growing. But yes, it will work. Just continue to put energy into it, be consistent. And sometimes what you can do to help if your mind is just wandering is to focus on something else that isn't important. So say you want to do, whatever it is that you're passionate about, whatever the universe is sending you this message about, but you overthink it. Okay, well, do what you can do, take a step back, and then get into some type of, hobby that you can do that you can overthink it. Like, watching a TV show, you can overthink that and dissect that and that has nothing that's going to like impact you negatively versus if you don't want to over analyze this, but then you go over analyze your relationships, or you go over analyze something else you're building. That might not be helpful there, but something that you don't mind, like it's not that big of a deal in your life. Then you could take all that extra brain power or like you just being stuck and thinking about it over and over and over again. You can take that and put that somewhere else, somewhere where it can be harmless. And you can just allow this to grow. Because let me tell you something, when you're doing well, ooh, it's going to feel good. When things are stagnant, ooh, it feels sucky. When things are bad, ooh, it feels sucky. But also understand that those are just seasons that happen. The good won't last forever. The stagnant won't last forever. The sucky won't last forever. The steady growth won't last forever. Things are always changing and pivoting. And that's it. But that doesn't mean in the long run, it's not going in the direction that you want it to go in. So be patient here, be open here, and trust in the messages that are coming across for you. Thank you, universe, for all of that wisdom. Please continue to bring up, that's an important one right there. Please continue to bring up whatever needs to come across for their greatest message. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to start talking about this north. No, this is karmic right here. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about this North Node. This card is feeling very sticky to me. So we'll use this as a card of clarification when it is needed. So the first card that came up was the North Node. And if you happen to know what your North Node is, that would make it much easier. But anyway, what the North Node represents is it represents your karmic destiny, the reason why you have incarnated into this experience to live out this life. Now, your South Node represents the many loops or karmic cycles that you've been in time and time and time again. In a very positive note, they show how you can do something really, really well. In a negative note, you're just so engulfed in those old things that you're ready to learn some new stuff. And you can't really live out to your fullest potential by living always in the South Node. So you'll see this earlier on in your life, certain kind of karmic patterns you're in. Now, naturally, you're really good at them. So you might even been able to kind of build the first part of your life or your understanding in life with these gifts that you have. But ultimately, your destiny is to learn this. Now, if the South Node is things that are easy for you to do, it's also things that limit you. They don't allow you to grow. They stunt you. The North Node is your destiny, that it's growth. It's you bigger. It's you coming into yourself. But it's also challenges because it's things that you're not familiar with. And so anything that you're feeling right now, this entire message, which is saying just keep going, that's your North Node. It is not a sign to give up and run off. In fact, what it really is your South Node is saying, well, this is what I'm used to doing, and I want to feel safe. But your North Node is saying, I see the potential, and I know it's uncomfortable because I'm not familiar with any of these things, but I know that ultimately it is better for me. And you change your benchmark of safety. Now, when you really push through those challenging situations, you're now able to play a bigger game. Once you allow that seed or that whole that whole plot of land to grow, now you start to think, well, you know what, maybe I could get an acre. Maybe I could get a whole farm, just kind of using this farming analogy. But that's what this is. If you're just, feeling on the inside, I just don't feel like doing it, but you have the time to do it. You just don't feel like it. You're just frustrated and things like that. That is the North Node and you trying to get comfortable with the North Node. It's going to be a while before you get comfortable, but this path is really the path that you need to train yourself to be on in order to create all of this beauty that will then serve you later on. Because if you do not do this, if you kind of shrink back into the South Node energy, what you do is you'll always stay in this karmic cycle. You're always going to be longing for more. You're always going to be thinking, well, what is my potential? These are the things that come up. But in order to get past that, you have to deal with the discomfort. This new moon represents this new energy that you started at the beginning of the year. So just keep following through with that. Just keep moving and going in the direction. Show up each and every day and work on yourself. In this Aquarius energy, or this 11th house energy, is you're trying to figure out where you belong when it comes to the social systems of things, your network and things like that. You may or may not feel surrounded by the environment that you want to be in. That's okay, because this card felt a little sticky. It felt like, you're working on it. What you do now, the hard work, and you continue to work hard at it by yourself, will then lead you in this karmic direction right here. And this is our clarification card, which is Pluto. Pluto is our card of transformation, rebirth, renewal. And it can also be obsession. You are being transformed in a good way. But if you do not surrender to your growth, then it will turn into an obsession. It'll turn into something that is not healthy, because being transformed means you do not resemble who you used to be. And that means you have to unlearn some things that were pretty familiar to yourself. So you have to let that go in order to get through the karmic experience and get to the place you need to get to. So the overall message that's coming from the universe right now is it's simply saying that you feel a little unmotivated, but the unmotivation is not because what you're doing shouldn't happen. It's just because you're dealing with some internal life shifts. You're transforming on the inside, and you might be misinterpreting that transformation as something negative, as something that is saying like, well, maybe this isn't right because it's supposed to feel good if it's right. And that's not true at all. There's plenty of things that aren't good for us that feel great. You eat a lot of sugar all day, you're going to love that, but eventually your body cannot take that. Or, it may be nice to nap all day, but, eventually your body is going to need to get some energy and need to get some movement going on. So there's a lot of things, but ultimately you won't be able to have the support system that you want right now. And it's not coming across like people are against you. It's not that at all. It's just you're kind of having to do it on your own. And that is what is kind of tough for you right now. But that's okay. Because if you're able to push through and get to the other side, which you can and which you will, then that community and that connection will show up. You might actually even create that community, that connection. You might be the leader of that. So instead of you just being kind of a follower into something and just, this is how it should be, maybe right now, because you're here by yourself, you're defining, what it's going to be. You're defining the future. What you're doing, other people will then follow and do. So really powerful in this message that's coming across for you. So just remember to always trust in yourself and know that you can do this. I hope you enjoyed this. Please check out the other piles too, because there are messages in each pile that can really be applied to different parts of your life and continue to flow with that energy. I'll see you next time. If you chose this pile, you chose pile number 2. So let's go ahead and get started to see what's going on here, what the universe wants you to know. We have the Knight. Thank you, universe, for this information. Please provide further clarity. Palomino, freedom in the night. Thank you, universe, for that information. Please provide some more clarity. And the Crone. So this is a time of wise growth at night. So there's something here. I need a little bit more clarity, universe. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are really feeling very cooped up in the house. Like that's the energy that's coming across here. There's a part of you that feels like, oh, you're ready to just kind of blossom. Like you're ready to develop. You're ready to not be so bound. And this can literally represent like just being cooped up in the house. It can also represent feeling like your hidden gifts or the things that you're really good at, you've always kind of like played them down, or you didn't necessarily share them with people. Now, for whatever reason why you didn't want to share them with people, that's fine. But you have a lot of things that you're really good at that you don't tell people about. And you kind of keep them to yourself. And a bit of that feels freeing for you, because you like the fact that you have those things, that they're yours. You don't have to worry about other people's opinions. And also it's kind of wise too, where it's just like, everyone's opinion doesn't really matter. And I know a lot of times people, may first think of a person's opinion as a negative opinion, but it can be good opinions too, where it's like there's something you really like and you're still deciding, where you want to go in that direction. But then if you tell, too many people, then they try to make that decision for you. Oh, you're good at this. You need to do that. When you're like, hey, I'm not ready yet, and you don't want to be mean. You don't want it to come across in a way that is like you're not being respectful or understanding, but you're like, And I see this separation between kind of like a parent or an authority figure. So I could see this as like a parent or like a boss or something like that. So there's these things you're good at, probably professionally, honestly, but there's these things that you're good at, that if you started your own business or you went off on your own, you would feel very free. You would do very, very well. But you're keeping it away from them because you don't necessarily know the big picture yet. You can't really see the big view yet of how these things are going to pan out. You just know you like what you like, and you know that it kind of gives you that freedom. But also, you do know that there's a certain amount of pressure that comes when you take something that you love and then you have to turn around and turn it into something that is supposed to, sustain you indefinitely. That's a little bit tougher. It takes the fun, easy part out of it. But I think that this is a time where you're deciding what it is you want to do. Not necessarily a time of action, but really like you're kind of coming to a realization of, I'm bigger than this. Like that's the feeling that is coming across. I'm bigger than this. I'm bigger than what someone thinks for me. And even if they want to think very grand of something, well, what I want to do with it is even grander. And so you're moving away from needing that authority to validate you, which you've done in the past, and you're starting to validate yourself. And the moment that you're able to build the environment, build the ecosystem, build the foundation, build the structure where you do what you want to do, but then at the same time, like you're able to sustain yourself, you still feel like, you're getting everything you need to get. That's going to be a game changer right there. That's definitely going to be a game changer in your energy right there. But just know you don't have to do everything that the authority is telling you to do. Like that's what it is. Like it's a parent or a boss. So here's the thing. Here's what's coming across. You don't have to do everything that they want to do, because you have to understand that your wisdom within yourself is bigger than, them. It's bigger than them as a whole. This intuition that you have for your overall journey and your overall goals, that's bigger and more important than, the authority outside of you. And again, that authority is coming across like a boss or a parent. You have to trust yourself. And do you see this? We have night, we have the stars here, we have the stars there, we have the stars there. So it's talking about, what you want to do, what direction that you would like to go in, but it's really separating your identity from needing to be like a, yes, sir, a no, ma'am, type of energy where you're asking for permission from other people. You don't have to ask for permission from other people. You have everything that you need within yourself. And you are certainly stronger than you know. It may not feel like you have all of this courage and all of this strength and all of this cunning because, tigers are solitary cats. They're really, really smart. And, they cannot be bothered. Like, how lions are, they're in a pride for the most part. But the tiger, they're just like, they don't have time for it. Like they don't have time for the mess of the hierarchy of things. They're able to survive on their own. They are cunning. They move about. They're swift, but they're also still a big cat. They're a big cat. So they are not to be looked at lightly, but they fear less. Every animal has a fear. There's things that will startle them and things like that, like loud noises and stuff like that. But they fear less because they're so smart and strategic with how they do what it is that they do when they're doing it. And then we have balance. So really take this moment to hold yourself accountable that you're saying kind things to yourself. Okay? Make sure that the way that you talk to yourself, your self-talk, is really balanced. And also, when you start to separate yourself from needing to have approval from authority, what it actually starts to feel like is it starts to be kind of fun, because you start to see the power that you have, and you stop seeing that energy as like they know everything and they know what's best. And it's almost becomes this like cute game of like cat and mouse. And it's like, oh, that's really cute that they think that they know what is best for me when I know what is best for me. I know where I need to go. I know what direction is best for me. So that's that beautiful energy that's coming across there. Universe, are there any other messages that you would like to come across? So connected to the tiger, we have the Leo energy, the lion, Leo. So we have the lion and we have the sun bear. The universe is telling you, okay, it's time for you to kind of make your debut and be visible for people to see. It's time for you to be out there, have your kind of a like to know that you are the boss. Because so many times before, other people were the boss and you were like, okay, I'll let the other person be the boss. But no, like it's time for you to be the leader. You have to lead your own life. You don't have to lead anybody else just yet, but you do have to lead your own life. You have to make your own decisions. You have to, play by the rules that you want. And when I say that this person is coming across like a parent or a boss, you can be an adult and still struggle with the dynamics of your parents. It doesn't change. It doesn't change just because you get older. And so here's the thing. It's time to shift. It is not your responsibility to live up to other people's expectations of what they think you should be. Your responsibility is just to live out this purpose that like is driving you forward in your life. You do not have to be kind of cluttered by others who are taking up too much space, or their thoughts, or what it is that they think you should be. And there's something karmic about this. My sister gave a really great analogy. She was like, there's always that point in a relationship with a person where they do something and it forever changes the relationship. And many people know, okay, this is the point where the relationship is no longer the same. So this is how it is with this authority figure. You all are at a turning point where the relationship is no longer the same. You can no longer be, a subordinate to them or to their energy. You're on your own path and you can't turn around. You can't go back. You can't shrink in yourself. You're too big. You have too many things that will pan out very, very well. So just go in that direction. It's time for a shift. And I want you to think about it. What is that thing that has happened that makes you feel like, look, this is a turning point. This is a time where it can't be the same. You won't accept it to be the same. You're like, no, it's just not working the way that you used to just accept things for what they were. In fifth house, which is again your Leo energy, represents your creativity. So it's really saying here that you have some type of hobby or something that you've been doing on the side. You're really good at it. The only reason why you haven't taken it to the next level is because you have some authority figure telling you like, you really need to be doing this. You haven't even shared it with them probably, or they don't really pay attention to it. But ultimately, you have to separate yourself from their authority in order to kind of create this into the actual reality. And if you're struggling right now to find, well, what is that thing within me? Well, just be very nurturing towards yourself. Just say, well, what are the things that I like? What are the things that I'm good at? And then you'll start to realize something that you have been undervaluing and not really thinking it was that, big of a deal is actually a pretty huge deal. And there's this love that comes from it. You enjoy, it's very, it's full of pleasure, this thing that you love to do. It's like you could do it for hours and you could just relax and you're like, hey, this really feeds me. And why this is really important for you is because throughout life, things come and go in cycles. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. But it's when you're doing something that you truly love that when it's hard, you still have the will to push through. When it's easy, you enjoy it. You don't have to think about it. When it's hard, you still have the will to push through it. But if you have been forcing yourself to do something that you don't want to do, that when it's hard, you're like, oof, I don't want to do this. This is a message and a confirmation from the universe simply saying to you, hey, there are things that you love to do that you can do more often and you can do all the time. If you, focus on recognizing them and figuring them out. Universe, are there any additional messages that you would like to share as well? North Node. The North Node here is talking about you should look at your North Node of your natal chart. It could indicate areas within your life that you're growing into and that you're actually really good at. And so think about it like this. You're stepping into your new path. People are used to who you were based on the past, and you just can't no longer be connected or associated with that energy, You needed what you needed when it came up, but now you don't. Now it's okay. Like now you're good. You don't have to worry the way that you worried before about any of this stuff. Like, really, like there's something that is building and growing within you that is coming out. And you can definitely expect within maybe like a month, if not sooner, if you don't already know what it is, you're really going to start seeing some new opportunities present themselves, and it's going to pull you out of your current situation. But whenever you go on a new path, just to be mindful of that, whenever you go on a new path has new challenges. And so when you get on this new path, you might feel like, oh, wait. Well, let me go back. Because, there's some things that you're not familiar with. But that actually isn't a reason to turn around and go back. Instead, what you want to do is just be patient, particularly being kind to yourself and nurturing, being understanding. And if you still have that, energy, that authority that is surrounding you, you might think that their voice might still be in your head, and it might sound like, well, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. So that's why there's an extra emphasis here on nurturing. We have the sun and we have the moon here. We have the sun, the day, and we have night. So this is a complete shift of how you are going through life. This is a complete turning point for you in a new direction. This is something that is going to take you down a beautiful new path, full of twists and turns. But when you look back on your life and you look back on this period, you start to feel really grateful, because you're going to get to a point where you've shifted in a new direction. And then you start to see how brave you were now, for the fact that you were courageous enough to change, because some people don't change. Some people get the calling to change and they refuse to change. They don't want to. They don't want to go in a new direction. They want things to stay as they always were and just continue to kind of muddle about and just repeat the same karmic stuff over and over and over and over again. And that doesn't have to be you. You don't have to repeat the same things over and over and over again. You can move forward in your journey and get to a place of clarity, get to a place of peace, and really and truly find balance in who you are and how you're doing things. Well, that was a beautiful message that came through the universe just for you. Feel free to listen to the other messages as well, as there are multiple layers of messages in each pile. And sometimes it offers validation as well. I really enjoyed our session together. Can't wait until next time. Bye. If you chose this pile 3, here's your reading. This is what the universe wants you to know. A message for you. So we have the light. We have the owl, the white owl. And we have the turtle. Universe, can you provide some clarifying information on the message that is coming across here? Adaptability. This is going really well. So you've been making a lot of changes in your life, and you've been very adaptable to those changes. And that's a really, really good quality that you're having. You see the potential of what you're doing, okay? And you get these little spurts of energy that comes across, like, do this, do that. You know that feeling? Like, it's like it comes across and it's like, hey, just do this, just do this. And you don't know where it came from, but it's just like, hey, this is a good idea. So you kind of run with it. That's really you connecting with that inner clairvoyance, that inner intuition, that wisdom, that cunning that you have within yourself. because you have been pivoting your life in a new direction. And as you are in this new direction, you really are, you're doing a good job. Like the universe is saying, you're doing a good job. Like you're doing a good job. That's what's coming across here. Then the universe is saying you're doing a good job. You got it. You're doing a good job. Universe, is there any particular messages that you want to bring during this? Continue to have fun with what you're doing. And just just have a level head. Just have a level head towards what you're pursuing. It's also saying that when you do encounter success from what is around you or what you have been working on, that success will come in a very, like, you won't see it. You'll be very surprised by it. Like, you'll turn around and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? Because it's almost like people, it's not even a people, it's more of like your growth is happening in such a light and airy way that if people don't pay attention to it, they could miss it. So it might look like just things come easy to you. Like that's what it looks like for what you've been working on. But we can clearly see here that you're just being adaptable. You're being optimistic. There's a lot of optimism surrounding here. We have this white buffalo. So the message that's coming across from the universe is that you're being highly protected and highly guarded. And so this could be from ancestors, this could be from guides, this could be from angels. This is a type of energy here that the reason why, as you are going through this shift, as you are, changing these different things, that you're adjusting so well is that you're being loved on a multiple level. So, your ancestors or your guides, or your angels, like they are there surrounding you and they're protecting you against other things that really could throw you off. They are showing up and they are just, comforting you and letting you know, hey, everything's going to be okay. Hey, don't worry. Hey, just keep going. Hey, don't pay attention to none of that stuff. Just do this, and that. And you're at one with your guides right now. Like they're very happy. And you're very balanced when it comes to that. Are there any messages from their guides? Does their guides want to say anything to them during this time? Since I got them on the phone. They are so proud of your strength. They really feel like you are going after what you want, and that helps them to be strong in your life because you're not afraid. You have big energy. You're saying you're determined. And also there's kind of this energy around you where you're not a big talker when it comes to, like, you're just telling everybody what you're doing. Instead, you're just doing the work. You're just like, you know what, kind of like, I'm going to just do it. And so that's kind of a good thing. But on the other side, they are saying that you shouldn't be afraid to share what you're good at. Because there's a little bit within you that feels like, even though you're balanced with them, even though you're doing what you need to do, you don't feel like you've always kind of played it a little bit small. So, even though you're not afraid to do the work, having to be your cheerleader, having to be your own hype person, your hype man, that's something that you're going to have to learn how to do and have patience towards that. That's funny. And it's funny because the energy that's like the energy that's coming across like like that's the energy. It's like I gotta do that. You know, I don't mind doing the work. I don't mind being connected. I don't mind, but now I gotta tell people because like you don't want to be bothered. That's the energy that's coming across here. It's funny. You don't want to be bothered. You're like, I guess. I guess. You know, they're just saying like, hey, like, you know, people need to know how great you are. That's what they're saying. So don't feel like you can't share, you know, it. Anything else, universe? Aquarius. Yup. Yes, they're saying go and talk to people and let them know what you're doing. Because you actually might be surprised. You might find out that that people want to support you. People want to be there for you. And there's that energy of just don't judge yourself. The reason why it might be a little bit tough for you to go after and, you know, tell people like, this is what I'm working on, you know, is because there's a bit of judgment that you're placing on yourself. Just be very nurturing. And ultimately there's a feeling of I just want to do it myself. Like that's what it feels like. You're like, yeah, I just want to do it myself. Like, I don't want to have to be waiting on someone else. I just want to do it myself. And you know, some advice there could be you don't have to just because you're sharing what you're doing, you don't have to do anything with other people. You can literally tell them no. Now, if what's so tough is that you don't want to have to go out of your way and tell people no, maybe that's something you should work on. You should work on being able to have conversations with people, say no, and it not be a bad thing. And that's actually one thing I do feel like, you know, the older generations got right. As we have more and more technology and as people even have like heartfelt conversations via text or, you know, in very like distant ways, and also like not in like, you know, face to face real time, you're kind of able to like take your time when it comes to how you feel in the moment. It's not as raw. And so what they were able to do back in the day, because you had to talk to people like right in front of your face and you had to learn how to communicate, you know, they learned very quickly, like they wanted to say, if they want to say yes, yes. If they want you to say yes, they'd be like, why won't you say yes? If they want to say no, they're going to say no. Whereas people now, they are afraid to have conversations with people. Now people are afraid to have just regular text conversations with people or just communicating with any human in general. Like, it's almost like if there was a button to like, can I end X, Y, and Z? They would just do that and walk off instead of having to go through and have those soft skills or interpersonal skills to be able to communicate. Because, you know, the more minds you have working on something, the better the outcome. And so the universe is sending a message to you in particular that it's like, you need some more people on your team because they're going to hype you up. But you don't want to have to deal with other people right now. That's actually why you're doing so well, because you're kind of just like, your head's down, you're doing your work. You're like, I don't want to deal with the extra stuff. But know that like, you don't have to deal with the extra stuff. You could tell people yes and no, and it will be completely okay. And trust that wisdom, the wisdom that you have, you know. Look, you know, the universe is giving you an option. It's saying, okay, you know, we want to make it easier for you, but if you prefer to just do this on your own, that's fine. Like it's not even going to fight you. The universe isn't going to fight you. It's like, hey, you know, you could get there in a year, but if you want to take 3 years because you don't want to have to deal with people, that's fine. But just know, you know, anything that you learn now can be used in other ways. So don't be too afraid to step into that energy. And also, this is a message of validation that what you have been working on, you truly love. You truly do love it. The reason why you are so protective over it and not necessarily inviting other people into the energy is because you know how much you love it. You don't want it to be warped. You don't want it to have to change. You don't mind being adaptable, but you don't, it's almost like, say someone has a really, really big personality. So even if they don't have the best vision, because their personality is so big, they can kind of whittle people down into doing what they want to do. And you're like, you don't even want to go through none of that. You're just like, look, I love what I love, and that's that. But what the universe is coming across and saying is like, keep an open mind. There are people who love what you love too. There are people who love what they love in a similar way that that you love what you love, and they can, be able to relate their passion to you, and they might make it easier for yourself. So just open yourself up a little bit more to be able to have community and collective energy here. There's something surrounding having to interact with others that is tough for you. And I think it's because maybe like you've had support systems or friendships that didn't turn out to be the way that you wanted them to be. They didn't support you the way that you supported them, or that you just don't want to go through that same thing over again. But ultimately, just to understand that this is new. It's not those people, this is new. This is a new energy. This is a new way. This is a new path. You do not have to be nervous or scared or relive those old experiences. They're gone, they're gone. This is a new you. This is a new life. Don't feel like you have to be stuck in how things have always happened and how things will always be. In fact, you should really take some time here and encourage yourself to say, well, I'm going to go into this with an open mind. I'm going to go into this scenario and be wrong from what my, usual expectations are. Because when you're able to do that, you then get to meet new people. Think about it. All the people you've known in your life, that is a very, very small fraction of people in comparison to all the people that are out in the world. And so you haven't even had the opportunity to meet all the personalities that there are there, or even groupings of personalities. There are going to be different people that you meet, and it's going to help you shift and grow in new directions, and you connect with them in new and lovely and meaningful ways. And so the universe is saying like, hey, it wants to connect you to those people. It wants to connect you in new and meaningful ways. It wants to connect you in a kind of direction that is like, hey, we just want to support you, and we align with, the type of energy that you've got going on. Like, so that's the main thing that's coming across here, universe. Are there any other messages that are coming across for them? Anything you want to say? Reinforcement, concentration. So the message that's coming across here is saying that the reason why you're kind of so focused on what it is that you're focused on is because there's probably a heavy placement in your chart that indicates a strong desire in that one area. And that is why you have that deep concentration there. So it's almost like your superpower. It's like like the superpower that you have and that you're able to connect to. And solar eclipse, embrace change. It's really sending this message. It's like this kind of two-tiered message. The one side of the message is like, you doing a good job, and you love what you do, and you're putting energy and effort into what you do and all that stuff. And then the other side is, hey, invite people into what you do and be open to the fact that you're going to meet new people who will be different than your interactions with other people and how they were before. It's time to shift, because you've been putting so much momentum into what it is that you have been working on, so much so that now you have manifested new situations, circumstances, and opportunities. So you have to walk into that. you got to walk into that energy. You got to walk, you have to accept that like you put in the work and now you get to receive the blessing. So don't refuse the blessing. Don't run off from the blessing. Don't be intimidated by the blessing. It's coming to you. And one more, just for the road. 10th house. This stuff that you've been working on is very much so your career. And your career is different than your job. Your job is something that you do, every day to pay the bills. The career is the summation of all the jobs that you've had and all the things that you're interested in. And ultimately those things that, you were interested in the most, that's your career. So what you've been working towards and working at is ultimately this career shift and this career energy. And so if you want to be successful in the career, it is not just about being good at what you do. It's also about your social network too. Because there are a lot of people in a lot of roles who are not good at all at what they do, but it's just, who you know, it's based off of who you know. But here it is, you could take it to a whole nother level because you're actually good at what you do. And if you just work on those interpersonal skills with your social network and grow and expand there and have an expansive energy in that direction, you're going to get to where you want to get faster. You're going to grow in the direction that you want to grow faster and quicker, and it's going to take you there. But ultimately, this is really a strong indication of your career being the main focus that the universe wants you to pay attention to. Wow, that was very beautiful. Also, check out the other piles because there are layers of messages in each pile and it provides validation on different levels, as well as I hope you enjoyed this session. I definitely had a great time. I cannot wait to see you next time. But until then, bye.